and matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com.
Ding, ring that bell ringers on the New York Stock Exchange balcony that overlooks the trading floor right there at Broad and Wall. Decent day across the board, guys. We get to it. Dow Jones up a little bit. That's good news because early throughout the night, it was lower. Early in the morning, it was substantially lower in the Dow Jones, up a little bit, 23 points. S&P up 32 points, ballpark at the end of the day. NASDAQ had a good day, 207 points higher, and that was about 300 lower when we first opened this morning for whatever reason. Dow took out 50,000 on Friday, first time ever. Continues the nice move up. Going to the other markets, oil up a little bit. Don't like to see that. Gold had a very strong day today, up $122 to the ounce up. Silver up $6 also. Strong metals markets up on the oil market. And the crypto was still trying to figure itself out. It was lower earlier in the morning. It ended up about unchanged, around 70,500 is where we finished Friday, about the same level today. A lot going on all over the world, isn't it? We'll get to a bunch of stuff. In the meantime, international disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currencies. There's never-ending lists of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. It's up almost $2,000, more than $2,000 in the last year and a half alone. Never-ending list of reasons why smart people, smart Americans, diversify a portion of your savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. More than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. Gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold is a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you too. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text the word America to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. No obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold Group help you diversify with gold so you too can have peace of mind regardless of global uncertainty. Text the word America to 989898. One more time, that's the word America. Text it to 989898. All right, folks, recently in Mexico, the Santa Rosa de Lima cartel killed 11 innocent people, and injured 12 more, get this, at a soccer field in the city of Salamanca. Here to give us all the details is our own RAV border correspondent, Oscar El Blue Ramirez. Oscar, I'm shocked. I'm shocked when our producer said, yeah, another thing happened over the weekend, a soccer match. The cartels are targeting innocent people. Why, sir?
Well, this is a turf, fight. And it is because the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, it is moving into these particular locations, and it is opening up more in territory. They're dominating the central parts of the country of Mexico. There has been multiple confrontations going on this past 2 weeks, Eric. It has been horrible on the situation fighting these terrorists, fighting these criminal organizations. The government of Mexico has completely failed on these past 2 weeks to fighting on the territory and land. This is what the Trump administration has said to the Sheinbaum administration. I want to go in there and I want to fight them on the land. The Sheinbaum administration has completely failed and has completely, not even coming close to securing the citizens on these central parts in Guadalajara. And then you see on the north parts and the parts of Guanajuato, where this attack, 11 innocent people, Eric, they were shot, they were killed on site. And, it tells you a message that this massacre, that the cartel just sent a message to the population of Mexico that nobody's safe, not even on circumstances when they're fighting over turf.
How does it happen, Oscar? I'm blown away. 11 people. It's a massacre and a soccer game. I mean, this is akin to domestic terrorism, yet Sheinbaum doesn't do a thing about it.
Yeah, and she continues to not designate them as terrorists because she, perplexed, and she wants to say to the population of Mexico that this is about no intervention of the United States of America. If she designates them as terrorists, the United States will have the liability to come in here and try to attack the criminal organizations with the cooperation of the Mexican government. But she doesn't want to do that. Now, there's another things that are going on also, Eric. The National Guard also has been corruptibly involved with the organized crime. It is a full-on, it's a disaster what they're doing. They're going into houses, they're stealing, they're robbing, they're kidnapping, they're extortioning people, several agents of the National Guard, but also there has been videos of this viralizing on social media in Mexico that these National Guardsmen, possibly they're not from the National Guard, they're the same cartel, that they have bought automobiles, put them exactly the same as the National Guard, and dressed up as National Guardsmen to do convoys, to do inspection points, to just, kidnap people and extortion people. It is escalating into that point, Eric, that now you have a massacre of 11 people in part of Guanajuato. The cartel, it is expanding to the north, and this is going to be extremely dangerous because now it is getting much closer to the borders.
Oscar, you have three levels. I guess three levels. The highest level is government. Scheinbaum doesn't seem to want to do anything. Then you have the military. I'd like to know where the military feels, how they feel about the cartels slaughtering innocent people. And then you have law enforcement, local level, cops in these towns. Are they just standing by letting this happen, or are they trying to get involved?
Well, it's sadly, in the country of Mexico, the corruption, it is the number one thing. A lot of the military men that we have talked to, they say they don't have the capacity that we have. We are way more trained than them. We can easily go in there and wipe them out and completely secure the area. But we wait until the head of command and the chain of command for us to execute the mission and for us to go in there and eliminate and eradicate this problem. And that it is where we're failing. That chain of command that is corruptibly being not executed 100% because of these corrupt politicians, that they are 100% involved, a lot of them, with the organized crime and the cartel. That is where the Trump administration does not need to have no agreement with Sheinbaum. They need to be exposing every single dirty politician which it is involved with the organized crime and the cartel, Eric.
Oscar, there were two separate, and you brought those to us. There were amazing moments, two separate protests. People were pushing back saying enough is enough. One was in November, and another one, I believe, was either in December or January. Whatever happened of those protests? They got pushed down. I remember that one of them ended up at Scheinbaum's palace, right? And then whatever happened with all that violence, with the protest against the violence against the people?
Well, still, the Mexican people are still protesting. They're still lifting their voice. What the Trump administration has done is give courage to the senators and the congressmen of the opposition for them to fight in the House of the Senate and for them to expose what is really happening and to pressure the Sheinbaum administration to have more agreements with the Trump administration, because she doesn't want to, but she's obligated now to let them in and to let them, extradite these individuals like they did just not too long ago that we exposed it right here on with you, Eric, 37, these narco leaders that they were extracted into the United States of America. These are the agreements with the Sheinbaum administration because she doesn't have no other options. We were just in El Salvador, and I experienced something that I have never experienced before. I was walking with the Minister of Defense through the communities that they were taken over by the MS gang terrorist group. And the people were coming out of the automobiles and shaking the hand and taking pictures with the Minister of Defense, saying thank you to him, saying thank you for saving our lives. We don't have that over here. We don't have that, that opportunity to go outside and to see the law enforcement and to say, I'm going to say thank you to him.
Why not, Oscar? Why not? Why not?
Because
people are afraid to do that? Is that what it is?
No, it's because we know that every single one of them is corrupt.
Yep.
And that is the number one thing. We cannot say thank you to somebody that we feel more secure sometimes alone that a police officer behind us in an automobile. So it is a completely different scenario.
The other issue that we've been talking about, you were in El Salvador. You were at the amazing prison that actually works in El Salvador. I'd like to hear about a little of that, and also Venezuela. Where are things with Venezuela as far as, that cooperation between unofficial cooperation between Venezuela and Mexico?
What Nayib Bukele has done with El Salvador is exceptional. It is an example for the whole world of how to control the territory and how to fight terrorism and how to not have, not pander to these terrorists. He incarcerated every single one of them.
CICOT is amazing.
Yeah, CICOT, yes. We entered that. Real America's Voice went in there, and we did a mini documentary that you can actually see on Real America's Voice News. And we showed this. These people have tortured, have killed. A lot of them, Eric, were killing and assassinated inside of the United States of America under the Biden administration, which they were entering back and forth, going back and forth. And thanks to the great relationship with the Trump administration and also with Nayib Bukele, they have managed to extradite all these criminals into CICOT. And, talking about Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, although the president, I don't agree with him, saying that Delcy Rodriguez is doing a good job. Delcy Rodriguez, it is part of the Chavismo regime. It is part of the Maduro regime. She's just bouncing around from one side to another, trying to please the Trump administration. They need to extract and remove Diosdado Cabello, who this guy that is also a terrorist, and he also was part of the Cartel de los Soles. He has made public statements that he feels nervous that something is going to happen to him. Possibly he knows that they're coming for him in the next day or so. And, you know, it's advancing. The people of Venezuela, now they feel the hope that something may happen and the change is coming to their country.
Oscar, always great reporting, getting you inside, folks, getting you inside some of the most dangerous places on the planet. And unfortunately, some are adjacent to the United States. We share a border with a couple of them. And by the way, they've been coming across the border for 4.5 years, for 4 years. And thank God Trump is stopping at least a lot of that. Oscar, please, again, as we always say, Oscar El Blue Ramirez, please be safe. Safety first, my friend.
Thank you so much, Eric. It's always an honor to be with you.
Oh, it's good to have you on, my friend. Stay safe. All right, folks, quick question. Do you actually know what you ate today? Think about that for a second. Do you know what you put into your mouth, into your body? Because the label on your food doesn't mean what you think it means. Natural, healthy, heart smart. Those aren't protections. Those aren't even science half the time. They're sales pitches. Even worse, they're permissions. In this country, companies can legally change ingredients, change sourcing, processing processes without changing the label on the front of the package. Think about that. Same box, same branding, different chemistry. That means two people buying the same product can be eating two very different things, and neither of them knows it. Your body pays the price. Your kid's health is paying the price, and no one's even telling you. They're not even required to let you know what your family's eating. That alone should scare the daylights out of you. So that's why we did this episode on The Edge. Not to scare you, but to arm you. Watch The Dark Side of Food Labels. It's out right now. It's on The Edge. Once you see it, you'll never, ever shop the same way. Please just go to the QR code. Hit that thing with your camera. Subscribe to The Edge. We appreciate you here watching Rav. We appreciate you watching Bowling at 4 o'clock on Rav. And I really, really appreciate subscribe to The Edge. Eric Bowling, The Edge on YouTube. Use them both. Subscribe. We're growing like crazy. We'll give you the numbers maybe tomorrow. But we really want to we're going to help you. We're going to keep your family healthier and safer. We'll be back 2.5 minutes.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, my name is Jeff. I'm from Massachusetts. I love Rav because of the free speech and the political wranglings that go on in the chat every day.
Alrighty, folks, before we move on, if you're 64 or older, this is an important message for you. Every year, too many seniors realize their Medicare plans don't cover the doctors they trust. Suddenly, you're stuck finding new doctors or overpaying. That's Medicare. You can spend hours researching, doing everything right, and still end up on a plan that costs you thousands of dollars. That's why Real America's Voice has partnered with Chapter. Chapter is the only national advisor that compares every Medicare plan. On average, they'll save people over $1,100 a year. On average. One caller, Jill, said her Chapter advisor showed her options she didn't even see on Medicare's own website. That's how broken that system really is. Chapter is a free resource, free, I said it right, free resource for our audience and can review all your options in under 20 minutes. If you're on Medicare or will be soon, call our friends over at Chapter at 814-CHAPTER, 814-CHAPTER. Just give them a call. It's trustful help. You can trust, by the way. Judicial Watch. Judicial Watch, great group, national leader in exposing the lawfare and abuse targeting Trump and American citizens, frankly. And they filed a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act, lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Justice for records regarding the FBI Public Corruption Unit's investigation of Trump, which was codenamed Arctic Frost. Remember that? Well, here to give us some insight is the president of Judicial Watch. Good to have Tom Fitton back on the show. Tom, really good to have you on. Tell us about this FOIA request. You know, just give us the details of why you requested it and what you found out.
Well, there's a whole series of FOIA requests and now lawsuits because, unfortunately, the FBI and Justice Department, even under President Trump, is defending the secrecy of the lawfare abuses targeting Trump by the prior administration. It's just incredible. We want documents about the internal FBI communications targeting Trump. This Arctic Frost, people don't understand. The mere name of it, Arctic Frost, is a type of orange. They're making fun of Trump in naming it Arctic Frost. I mean, that's how juvenile and silly and really nasty the FBI and Justice Department were. So we have a series of FOIA lawsuits to get access to what was going on. We just the other day was able to publicly disclose the list of top deputies. It was actually a phone list that the prior administration withheld from us of Jack Smith. Jack Smith didn't want you to know who his top people were that were trying to put Trump and others in jail based on these sham investigations and theories of law. And we fought and fought, and thankfully the Trump Justice Department under Pam Bondi backed off and didn't want to defend it any further and gave us the list. But it took a lot more energy and time and resources than it should have. And I appreciate their being transparent on some issues, releasing some material to Congress. But we've looked at request after request on Arctic Frost, on the racket protecting Hunter Biden, and we're just getting the runaround from the FBI and Justice Department.
Tom, I don't mean to interrupt, but why the hell is that the case? I mean, you have Pam Bondi, you have Kash Patel. What's going on here? Why are they protecting people that almost did everything in their power to throw Trump in jail before he was reelected president?
I don't know. They're straightforward Freedom of Information Act cases. And if I were the Attorney General or I were Kash Patel, I'd want to know if Judicial Watch or someone like us was getting to run around asking about disclosures or trying to get some disclosures about the abuses that they promised to expose and stop. And it's frustrating. It's a repeat of what happened in the first term. And it's been over a year now, and we're still getting the runaround.
I don't get it. I want to stay on it. I mean, so you fire away these FOIA requests, and I know how these work, Tom. Correct me if I'm wrong. You send them in, and they literally send a clerk to go rummage through some documents and take their sweet time, unless you speed it up with the lawsuit. I'm blown away, especially because the point behind your FOIA request is to look into the lawfare that they use. They may have colluded with the White House to go after Trump, right? And that's what you're looking for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've asked about communications between the Justice Department and these various states that were prosecuting Trump. Yeah. I mean, look, everything that you would think you'd want to find out about the lawfare targeting Trump, we've either asked for under the Freedom of Information Act or are in federal and state court trying to get access to the information. And when we file these really simple, straightforward requests from Judicial Watch to the FBI, Justice Department, they say they get the letter, and then we never hear from them again. So it isn't like they're giving us real reasons for not disclosing the information. They're just not doing it. They're not paying attention. And I would encourage the Attorney General to focus on FOIA because that's the lawful way to get information out. And we see when they kind of skip FOIA, what happens? You get Congress coming in a blunderbuss way, right, with these Epstein records, and that's the result. And I'm beginning to think maybe that's what Congress should do for all of these government scandals. Just order the release of all the documents and stop playing these games of delay, obstruction, and forcing groups like Judicial Watch to file lawsuits against the Trump administration to find out how Trump was abused because his people don't want to give us the information.
Is it that, Tom? Is it purposeful? Is it they don't want to give it to you, or they're just not prioritizing it, to the extent that we all would? You would, and I certainly would like to see it as well.
Yeah. In my experience, Eric, it's all the above, right? It's the government. The resting state of the deep state is secrecy, and that's why you need kind of the political leadership of the agencies to pay attention and make responding to FOIA requests such as this, because it's not just Judicial Watch, obviously. It's requests by Congress and the media as well, that at least there needs to be a focus on exposing some of the worst corruption that happened in American history. I mean, look, the FBI and Justice Department tried to blow up our republic in 2024, 2023, et cetera. And they don't want to give us the information. They don't want to give us the details. They've given some to Congress. But if you had members of Congress on here from either the House or the Senate, they would tell you about everything they're not getting as well.
Dumb question. Tom, can you go, not around, not, I guess, beneath Pam Bondi and go to Todd Blanche?
I mean, I think they know about this. It's not like Judicial Watch is a no-name group out there.
You're well known. You're well respected within the administration. This is what blows me away. What do they hide? What do they hide? There's always a reason for something, and this seems like they're hiding something. And what would it be?
Well, the kind of the mirror of this is why aren't they been doing prosecutions as I think they should have done, and investigations related to these abuses of Trump? Are they doing what they should do? Or are they doing enough? And I think if they release documents, one might argue, it's going to be exposed that there's more they should be doing to go after those who went after Trump contrary to law.
Tom, Trump said, if they could do this to me, they could do it to you when he was during the re-election process leading up to 2024. If they can do this to me, they can do it to you. I'm going to expose all this, when I win again, and he wins. And I think certainly MAGA is saying, hey, where are the receipts now? Where are the receipts for a lot of things? It's it's Epstein and others. And instead, we're getting groups like Judicial Watch that has to spend money with lawsuits to try and get information that rightfully should be privy to the American people.
Yeah, on every topic, we're fighting them on. Fauci records related to the abuses of Americans through the censorship operations, obviously the targeting of Trump, Biden scandals, the Hunter Biden materials. It's really kind of shocking when we have to go to court and fight. I mean, we were just asking in court the other day, we were asking how much was the FBI paying Twitter to do searches on people like Trump and Americans back when they were harassing people for daring to dispute the election or asking questions about COVID and such. And this administration, this FBI, said, we can't tell you how much we paid Twitter to get those records for us. And who ended up agreeing with them? Chief Judge Boasberg. So we're in court. Chief Judge Boasberg allows the Trump FBI, nominally, to hide records about the FBI's abuse and targeting of Trump through Twitter subpoenas and such. That's just one example of the frustration.
It's very, very scary because, I wrote a book called The Swamp years ago. This isn't anything about my book, but it highlighted how everyone claims they want to drain the swamp till they get in the swamp, and all of a sudden the swamp stays
Right.
just as filled with swamp creatures. In fact, everyone tries to remain in the swamp rather than actually draining it. Tom, got to go. Love to get you.
I mean, my joke on that is the swamp has a lot of park rangers, both
Yes.
Democrats and Republicans.
Yes. Yeah, that's
sure.
a great. That's it right there. In essence, that's it. And by the way, the park rangers they have no interest in draining anything at all. They're just making sure that we don't get entrance into the swamp. That's, I guess, what it is.
Right.
Tom, get you back as these things progress. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll be back 2.5 minutes.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
My name is T.J. Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Well, America's favorite pastime closes out another season. The game itself, pretty uneventful. Actually ended as many expected, but there was plenty to take away from Sunday's Super Bowl, and that halftime performance was just one of them for me. Was it best halftime show performance? Not even close. Was it the worst? Also, no. I'll just be honest with you. No, Bad Bunny didn't wear a dress like some had predicted, which eliminated an in-your-face leftist LGBTQ agenda. They was frankly anticipated fine. And no, Bad Bunny didn't call out ICE specifically or deportations per se. He didn't wear anything anti-ICE, nor did any of the other performers. Okay, fine. But let's not pretend this wasn't political. We're celebrating this country's 250th birthday this year, and this was a missed opportunity. Putting up a singer who performs entirely in Spanish alienated much of the NFL audience. And let's not pretend that putting the notorious anti-ICE performer Bad Bunny up there wasn't about sending a message about borders. It absolutely was. The left loves to scream about inclusivity, but where was the inclusivity in a performance done almost entirely in Spanish, except for the randomly placed Lady Gaga appearance, ensuring that much of the U.S. population wouldn't understand a single word uttered? Oh, and just a little reminder of what Joe Biden once had to say about speaking English in America.
You got 11 million illegal aliens here. They have to have a way to earn their way into the deal. This is an amnesty. They're required to take 11 years' worth. They pay a fine. They got to learn to speak English. They got to pass
I like the English part.
Yeah.
I like the English part.
By the way,
if we want the problems of Canada right now, keep encouraging people to keep their foreign language. English is going to unite this country potentially. It always has in the past.
I can't think of a country that has two languages as their accepted languages that is doing all that well, including Switzerland and or Canada.
Joe Biden, meet Joe Biden. Is this America's pastime or not? It wasn't until the very end of that performance that we understood anything Bad Bunny was saying, which was when he actually mentioned America and then listed off every country in North and South America as American countries. All the countries in America, I'm kind of confused. Have we stolen more land than I was aware of? That, to me, was an obvious call for no borders and no sovereignty. Reminder, South America and North America are separate continents. America is the United States of America. Canada, not America. Mexico, not America. Chile, oh, not America. And only citizens of the United States are called Americans globally. And that performance wasn't about unity. It wasn't about celebrating our motto, E pluribus unum. One out of many. It was about putting love of country of origin over love for this country, America. And that mentality will kill this country if you let it go. It should be noted that right after the Bad Bunny performance, a strategically placed pro-ICE ad aired, and so a tip of the hat to this moment.
They're friends and neighbors, sons, fathers. They're little league coaches and veterans. They're people who love this country. These are Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. They are removing violent criminals from our streets and neighborhoods. It's dangerous and difficult work. But ICE has one mission: to make America a safer place to live, and that's what they're doing. This is law enforcement. This is ICE.
Thank God it was that ad and not Secretary Noam on a horse. Thank you for that. I also do want to give a very special hat tip to the Turning Point All-American Halftime Show, which had 25 million views from YouTube and Rumble alone. This network did something like 7 million views. Amazing. But there was more to the Super Bowl than performances, and that's what I think we should take away from this. What struck me was what happened on the so-called sidelines of the Super Bowl. There was a clear cultural shift happening in tandem with the snowflake outrage over lawful deportations. Think about where we were 4 years ago. The rampant wokeism, Bud Light featuring a man dressed as a woman, mocking womanhood openly. Now Budweiser seems to be fully embracing patriotism in a very fully pro-America ad during the Super Bowl. That ad was actually tear-jerking. Or this Maha ad featuring Mike Tyson in a push to Americans to eat healthy, real food.
My sister's name was Denise. She died of obesity at 25. She had a heart attack. I was so fat and nasty. I would eat anything. I was like 345 pounds. A quart of ice cream every hour. I had so much self-hate when I was like that. I just wanted to kill myself. We're the most powerful country in the world, and we have the most obese, fudgy people. Something has to be done about processed food in this country.
Good for you. Good for you, Mike Tyson. Or this, an ad speaking out against boys playing in girls' sports featuring Riley Gaines.
These female athletes just need to work harder.
And not blame others for their lack of success. As the captain, Steve is very much responsible for these boycotts, which have cost her team a playoff bid.
Guess we'll see how Sia handles all that pressure tonight.
You see, this is the difference. The right is actually working to solve America's problems, not exacerbate them. But it's very clear that the left has absolutely no interest in doing that. Any sort of criticism levied at the Super Bowl halftime performance was always going to be classified as racist, bigoted. You can see it from the left's reactions to the performance, the same reactions across the board. Perfect performance at a perfect time, no notes. Meanwhile, people on their side of the aisle can say just about anything they want, things like outward hostile, violent things, and nothing to say about this, lefties.
We really need some fumigation, right? We need a exorcism, for lack of a better term. We need a more aggressive approach to go in and surgically remove the cancer that is the Donald Trump and MAGA movement.
The fumigation of the MAGA movement. Nothing to say about that. Or how about this? A Democrat congressman talking about non-whites taking over the country. That seems to be okay too, I guess.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country.
Just imagine both of those comments in reverse. Imagine a white man says we need to fumigate the left. Imagine a white man says we should take over the whole country. Imagine the uproar. And now recall why they're more obsessed with taking away Second Amendment rights than actually solving America's problems. Look, that halftime performance will be forgotten in a few days. A little snowflake whimper against the backdrop of the left's continued fight to torture and destroy America. Gotta say, it was entertaining. Wrong message to send, though. Could have been worse. Let's put it that way. Could have been worse, folks. All right, we'll be back. 2.5 minutes.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbondale, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
My name is Dee Dee, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
how catchy is that song? That was Look at the Boss by the very talented Natasha Owens. Don't forget to download that song. Tell your friends about it. Let's run that thing up the charts. Get it to number one again. It was there once before. We'll get there. Hit that QR code. Hit that QR code right on the screen right there. You can download the song right there. Let's get this thing on the board again. All right, folks, it wasn't just about the Super Bowl this weekend. Per usual, Democrats took to the airwaves to slam ICE and DHS for carrying out the will of their people. The Department of Homeland Security is just days away from potentially losing its funding. And despite the fact that it's extremely dangerous to America if that happens, Democrats seem more than happy to help make that happen. Hakeem Jeffries, fake Obama, telling Trump derangement syndrome victim Dana Bash that he's willing to shut down DHS unless his party's full list of demands aren't met. Just shows you yet again that the left is more than willing to do harm to the American people just to get what they want. Even after polling clearly shows, do we need to show you again? Polling clearly shows that American citizens do not want ICE to be reined in.
Only 5 days now until the Department of Homeland Security will shut down. Are you willing to accept anything less than this full list of demands?
Not at this point. We start with a basic premise that taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, not brutalize or kill American citizens like Renee Nicole Good or Alex Preddy. We know that ICE is completely and totally out of control. They've gone way too far, and the American people want them reined in. Because immigration enforcement should be fair, it should be just, and it should be humane. So dramatic changes are necessary to the manner in which the Department of Homeland Security officers are conducting themselves before any funding bill should move forward.
Just doing their jobs, doing what the American people actually voted Trump to do. It is pretty surprising when Dana Bash decides to maintain some semblance of journalism, and since it doesn't happen very often these days, it's nice to give it a moment, particularly when it means that Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, well, he's put on the hot seat. Watch.
You are pushing hard to redraw Maryland's congressional map to further benefit Democrats. And what that means is eliminating the only Republican-held seat that exists right now. The map, as it stands, is already really gerrymandered, done before you got there. How is it good for democracy to pursue a map that makes your state even less representative?
Well, actually, the map that the Maryland House passed would actually make 6 of the 8 congressional districts more competitive than less. And frankly, one of the most gerrymandered seats inside of the state of Maryland is actually the Republican seat.
In other words, we're going to gerrymander the hell out of our state just to get those extra seats because, you know, that's what we do. They're going to make a free-for-all. They're just going to make this a complete free-for-all, which pushes us to the point where we might as well just redo the whole census, redo the whole thing once and for all, right? And don't allow illegals to be counted in the census, for God's sake. Speaking of CNN, it's always fun, a fun day here, when the left's narrative gets shut down on their own airwaves. Last week, CNN was forced to report that an overwhelming number of Black and Latino voters support voter IDs. And now they're forced to show how Black voters who supported President Trump back in 2024 actually feel about him now.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I might know the answer on this next one.
She said yes. It's immediately yes. No, I'm sorry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
1,000%, absolutely yes.
Maybe CNN's starting to see the light. You never know. You never know. One can wish. Ever just sit back and thank your lucky stars that Kamala Harris is not the president of these United States? Well, I do. I really, really, really do. Particularly when she's saying anything at all. Anything, really, the word salads that come out of her. Like asking her a real question about something in case, voter ID comes up, and just sit back and appreciate that we swerved collectively as a country with this little flashback.
Is agreeing to voter ID one of those compromises that you'd support?
I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
What? Xerox machines, Office Max? That's who the Democrats chose to run for president. And by the way, we hear she's going to run again. The president of the United States, thankfully Donald Trump, is set to address Congress and the country in this year's State of the Union address 2 weeks from tomorrow on Tuesday, the 24th. And you can surely expect the party of violence and zero class will show you exactly who they are on that night. Maxine Waters, Wawaz, gives us a little preview here.
Ahead to the State of the Union that's coming up later this month, I know in the past you have chosen not to attend Trump's speeches. Do you plan to be there this time?
Oh, no. I will never honor him with my presence. This man doesn't deserve to be the president of the United States. There's nothing that he can say in the State of the Union that will erase his behavior, will erase his racism, and I have no need to sit there and listen to him pretend or lie. You know, he's the biggest liar that we've ever encountered anytime, any place, anywhere. So no, I will not be there for sure.
Good riddance. You know what? All of you stay home. It's great. No one cares. You don't represent America anyway. I don't know what you represent. Socialism, something else. Under the topic, you can't make this stuff up, folks, Don Lemon helped storm a church and terrorize families during a Sunday prayer and now thinks he's some sort of hero and civil rights icon for it.
Can you imagine the state having control of your freedom simply because they don't like that you are doing your job? So that was very frightening to me, but in my time when I was there, I thought about all the people who'd come before me. I thought about all of the people who fought for civil rights, who fought for gay rights, all of the people who were at Stonewall, Marsha P. Clark. I'm like, yes, those are the people, those are the real heroes. And so what's happening to me, I have, at least in this time that I'm living now, more agency, more resources, more rights, and I would hope, than the people who were fighting for our freedom and our civil rights.
This was the problem with arresting Don Lemon, that you put him on a leftist pedestal. He's a lunatic. He's a moron. He's got little between the ears, as they say. And somehow he's going to become some sort of hero to the left. And by the way, when he says he was journalisting only in Minneapolis, when he was riling up the group that stormed that church, he was part of the protest. I get why you did it, but you just put him on a pedestal. Wow. I think that was an unforced error, so to speak. All right, folks, if you felt more tired lately, maybe more sluggish, maybe a little brain foggy, right? Well, this might be why your food label is lying to you, not illegally even, strategically, and it's getting worse and worse. Food companies are exploiting loopholes, ingredient swaps, labeling tricks, serving size games, all perfectly legal, by the way. Approved doesn't mean it's safe, though, and regulated doesn't mean it's honest. Your body is reacting to things you were never told were there. This isn't about dieting, it's about exposure to chemicals. And get this. It's all legal because big food has lobbyists in D.C. paying off politicians. What you eat is changing faster than the rules meant to protect you. Watch the dark side of food labels on the edge right now. It's up right now because once you understand the game, you'll stop being the product. The only advantage you have is knowledge. Hit that QR code with your camera right there. Just point your camera right at it. Subscribe to The Edge. Look, we're doing things that will keep you healthier. Yes, we do motivation stuff. We do grit. We do getting back up. But it's also we're doing healthy stuff, too. Showing you how to stay healthy for you and your family. You got to subscribe, though. Really, really love you. Thank you for being part of the RAV audience. Thank you for being part of the Bowling at 4 o'clock on RAV audience. And thank you very much for going over to YouTube Eric Bowling The Edge, and subscribing. We appreciate that. We'll be back 2.5 minutes.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Alrighty, folks, just the news. Recently posted a story that the Trump DOJ seeks to dismiss Steve Bannon's J6 conviction and indictment. Here to discuss is the CEO and editor-in-chief of Just the News, John Solomon. John, tell us the story. A couple of prongs to this, but I'll let you. I teed up for you to hit the ball out of the park, my friend.
Well, yeah, this is a pretty stunning turnabout. This Justice Department just a couple of years ago sent Steve Bannon to prison, along with Peter Navarro, for refusing to cooperate with a congressional committee that probably wasn't lawfully organized, right? The way the Democrats set up the January 6th Select Committee, it wasn't actually in compliance with Congress's own rules. There was a legitimate reason for people like Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon to not cooperate until those issues got resolved. But the Biden Justice Department, through lawfare, put both men in prison, and now the extraordinary act of the Justice Department going back to the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, saying vacate the conviction, vacate the indictment. We were wrong to do this, and Steve Bannon is a victim of improper political prosecution. That's a pretty significant moment. Accountability comes in two forms, right? One is prosecuting people who did wrong. The other is vindicating those who were wrongly targeted. And today, we got a little bit of that second.
You know, he'll never get the time back that he spent behind bars and whatever fallout that comes from that. But certainly that would be a thing. So tell us, it's beginning the process to do that? What is the process?
Well, usually when the Justice Department goes in at this level, at the Supreme Court, there was a case about a year ago where they did something similar. Supreme Court acceded and said, yep, vacate. We'll see what happens with the trial judge. And sometimes these trial judges are on a different tune than the Supreme Court. But this will probably be a pretty quick process. I wouldn't be surprised if this is wrapped up in 30 days or less, given the history of a couple of other examples of this that have gone on in the last 2 or 3 years. So I think Steve Bannon will know his fate on this issue pretty quickly. And then there's the second case winding through. Right now, I don't think Peter Navarro wants anything reversed. I think he wants this executive privilege case to be ruled on at the Supreme Court. But at some point, the Justice Department's likely to do the same thing for Peter Navarro. But this is a pretty significant repudiation of the Democratic J6 committee. a pretty significant repudiation of the Justice Department and the Jack Smith approach to January 6th. And another example, I mean, people forget this, but Steve Bannon is the poster child for a dual system of justice. He had Eric Holder thumb his nose at the Congress years ago when Republicans in charge. He walks off, and Steve Bannon goes to prison. I think right now this reversal kind of puts him and Eric Holder back on a more even footing, meaning both men are now treated.
I'll never forget that. Eric Holder under Obama, Attorney General under Obama, gets to deny Congress and walk away, and Bannon.
And it was his own Justice Department that wouldn't prosecute. Talk about a conflict of interest.
Exactly. Yeah. So allow me this. Let me just take, earlier we had Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch on saying that he sent FOIA requests into Justice. They're slow walked or they're not returned, so he's had to sue the Department of Justice. For things like this, for things that show that maybe have shown that Biden's Justice Department and others were colluding with the White House to take action against Trump, to take action against conservatives versus liberals. Why do they have to fight for this information?
Yeah, listen, it is sometimes a maddening reality of the way the deep state works. Of many of the places where the deep staters are most buried are in FOIA departments and in FOIA compliance. I've probably filed over 100 lawsuits, even several since President Trump took office. I may very well sue Tulsi Gabbard's department next week because of some documents that I believe should be made public. I think it is worthwhile to do both. We're getting more truth out now than ever before through Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard, but sometimes filing a lawsuit and getting those deep staters out of the FOIA offices and onto the law is a good measure. I'm going to get some great stuff out of Fulton County from a lawsuit in the next few weeks. So having both weapons at your disposal, having both tactics at your disposal is probably the best way to get the American people the truth. You are going to have to fight for some things, even with a friendly, a public release-friendly administration. In the meantime, you work the margins like this morning. Think about this. I was pursuing for about 4 years documents that the FBI had prepared and envisioned a hung election, a disputed election in 2020, and that they even did a tabletop exercise. And this morning I got them. How did we get those? Kash Patel gave them to Congress. I got them from Congress. There are more than one way to skin this cat, but I think right now, having all tools on the table, we have a small window of time to get all the truth out to the American people. Some of that truth will result in accountability. I say do what Tom Fitton's doing, do what I'm doing, but also work the margins. And sometimes you're going to get stuff from the administration without a lawsuit, but I would keep people's feet to the fire.
And maybe the folks don't understand the FOIA process. It's for me, it's fascinating. It's bureaucratic and also antiquated, I would say, where you make a request and there's literally a clerk that goes down to the agency that you're looking for and starts rummaging through maybe hundreds of millions of files, pages of files, right? Is there a way to? Here's my question: Is it being done this way for a reason, a purposeful reason?
Oh, in some cases it is. In some cases it literally is a function of an antiquated system and backdoor. But we're 19th century technology trying to address 21st century demands. But I'll give you a great example. I have a FOIA pending for a sensitive intelligence document that has to be declassified. The ODNI came back and responded saying, we can't even confirm the existence or denial of that document. And I wrote back, excuse me, it's been written about in thousands and thousands of articles. Here's a couple hundred of them. But that is the sort of harassment you sometimes face down below. Does Tulsi Gabbard know that's going on? No, of course not. She'll know soon when I sue. But that sort of menacing goes on by people who want to hide the failures and the wrongdoing in the Biden era. But it isn't a reflection of the top people or the president. Or they're just, they're very busy people. Are they managing John Solomon's FOIAs? Probably not.
Does Steve Bannon have any recourse, if they do overturn his conviction?
If he can get the Justice Department to acknowledge that what was done there was inappropriate, he could potentially go to the Crime Victims Fund and seek restitution. He could sue if the Justice Department would waive the normal immunity that most of its employees have. I think that's the next thing to watch here, Eric. I think it's possible that President Trump may take a look at some of the bad actors and say, we're not immunizing you. You're going to have to defend yourself for your actions. Comey or Bannon or someone downstream from them who was in the deep of the weaponization. That could be a big moment. President Trump saying, I'm not going to extend the immunity because we think you acted in bad faith.
So they have, John, I didn't know this. They have immunity right now. I only have 30 seconds left. They have immunity right now from prosecution?
Almost all government officials have, just like cops. They have the assumption of immunity from the government. It's hard to sue the U.S. government. But if the government admits that what you did was wrong, then you're on your own. And I think Donald Trump could wave a magic pen around and put a lot of deep state bureaucrats cowering in their boots with that sort of declaration.
We'd love to see some of that. John Solomon, great reporting, folks. Always great breaking news stuff with John. We get him on. Thank you for coming on and sharing that with my audience. Don't forget.